Hose before hose. You know that quote from the first Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm live.
from Siwa. I thought Magi's was supposed to protect the Pharaoh. I am Magi to no Pharaoh. You see this? I can read my own name, Nat! We will find you. We will find you in your sleep! Sleep? I never sleep. I just wait in the shadows, and I will kill you all! Everyone who sniffed the air that day in Siwa!
You killed my master and left me for dead! That was a mistake!
Your master was a murderer.
I am his sworn bodyguard! It's a question of honor!
I am the Magi of Siwa.
Then you are a worthy opponent. I'll have your life, Magi. You are quick, Magi. I am powerful. I would be proud to have fought the last Magi. I respect your tenacity. A broken weapon won't won't save you. This place will serve as tomb to one of us. Let it be you.
Let us call truce. You are not the one I've sworn to kill.
Question of honor. It is a fight to the death.
So be it.
A broken weapon won't save you. This place will serve as tomb to one of us. Let it be you.
Let us call truce. You are not the one I've sworn to kill.
Question of honor. It is a fight to the death.
So be it. Neck. No way out. No footholds here. I need to find a way into another room. The scarabs must be coming from somewhere.
Give me a minute, folks. I gotta use the restroom.
Are throwing shit at each other in the utter rage that Neil Screech invokes. The teacher gets hit with a stapler traveling at speeds previously unseen by man. KO. Neil now turns towards me and stops his Screech momentarily to talk. Tell me what it means, pal. In desperation, I tell him it's a bad word that nobody is supposed to say. Neil believes me entirely. He goes the rest of his life, as far as I know, convinced that acumen is just as bad of a word as fuck. All of his anger immediately disappears. He gives me that toothy grin and simply sits back down as if I had just shared some secret with him. I sit down next to him and he whispers, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone what acumen means." Okay, Neil. Tard Wranglers burst through the door. One carries Neil, the other carries the new teacher to the nurse's office. As Neil is exiting Tard HQ, his toothy grin remains. Very cute. She has no idea what the fuck she's getting into. Neil brings his pet turtle to school. Be in 8th grade still in the first marking period. The new teacher thinks that it would be a wonderful idea for people to bring in things to show the class. Every day it's a different student. Today that student happens to be Neil. He brings in his pet turtle, Jimmy, to show the class. Everything seems to be going well for the show and tell. Neil is passing around the turtle for people to hold. I mean, it's a fucking turtle. What could happen, right? Seeing as nothing that good is going on, I leave and go to the bathroom. take a piss in what was probably 3 minutes. It was a very long piss. I walk back into the classroom and utter chaos has ensued. Neil is screaming, "Jimmy, Jimmy, where are you?" as one of the tards is crying in the corner. I'm assuming Neil let loose a short screech for a second to get everyone's attention. The turtle was gone, apparently. He was lost among all the handing him around. Do you hear me? They lost a fucking turtle. I run up to Neil and ask him what's wrong. "Jimmy is gone." "Okay, Neil, calm down. I'll find Jimmy." I start looking around. I search fucking everywhere. The turtle is nowhere to be found. All of a sudden, that fucker James walks in. He's got a big retard grin on his face, and he has been gone since right after I left. Neil immediately catches on and commences the tard screech. Shit goes from chaos to pure clusterfuck in seconds. Not only is Jimmy the fucking turtle gone, now I have a raging mob of tards in a close space. I scream to James over all of the noise. "Where is Jimmy?" "My ears hurt." Jimmy's now crying and is of no use. I see
that's just hilarious.
back to the classroom in the corner of my eye.
Where's Jimmy? My ears hurt.
Is Jimmy the fucking turtle halfway under a beanbag? He was there the entire time. I pick him up and present him to Neil, who is overcome with happiness to have Jimmy back. "Jimmy, thanks, pal." The new teacher still isn't able to handle shit, and he is sitting in the corner of the room. Neil's screech may have stopped, but the tard rage hasn't. The tard finds the stapler yet again, and, boom, it connects with Mrs. Springer while breaking the sound barrier. Out cold. Tard regulars burst into the room and subdue the tards. Neil is perfectly fine, so he's left in Tard HQ this time, but apparently it was my fault Jimmy was lost. I am dragged out by the principal who accompanied the Wranglers. The last thing I see is Neil, there, sitting in the corner with Jimmy.
Get him!
Thank you.
Die!
I got a fucking week of detention.
Watch out!
Yeah, super admirer. So in Neil's class, there was one Jody. Jody was above average height, ugly as fuck, half-functioning hard, who always wore those fucking berets. She was annoying as fuck. All she would ever do was make blatant lies. And she knew nobody believed her, and when she had to. One time she claimed that she was related to Leonardo da Vinci, and she had some stuff autographed by him. And she's fucking Irish, but I digress. So it turns out that she secretly had a crush on Neil. I found this out in a rather frightening way, though. One day during gym was the only class integrated, I was cornered by Jody and her nasty fucking odor. Seriously, the girl didn't know how to use deodorant. I swear her stench could counteract Saddam's mustard gas. So she cornered me in the gym and whispered in my ear, "Dude, you're friends with Neil, right?" "Yeah, what about it?" "Dude,
killed one of the last
you
ones.
like me?"
The Heron.
I immediately ducked under her arm and ran to the safety of my decent-smelling friends. Later that day, I saw Neil and asked him if he liked Jody. "Jody's gross, she smells like Jimmy."
No. No rest.
I laughed and dropped the subject.
Not until all the
Because it
masked
obviously
guts
never
lie
happened.
baking in the sun.
As I left the Tard HQ to go to my next class, I was cut off by Jody. "So what did he say, Phil?"
Where is your mouth?
"Sorry, he doesn't like you."
What?
"Oh shit, not again, .jpg. Jody runs over to Neil at the pace of a muscular dystrophy child.
Ah,
She begins
there you
screaming
are,
in
boy.
some kind of high-pitched tone,
Let us go.
almost like her own Raptard
how have
roar,
you been holding up
but
since I
nowhere
left?
near the magnitude of Neil's. Neil takes this as a challenge and
it's been
unleashes the
difficult,
most
man.
mind-deafening Raptard
Without
screech
you,
I
the
have yet
villagers look to
heard.
me to keep order.
Jody is cut off mid-scream. The power of
Soldiers
Neil's is just
They
overwhelming.
rule over all.
The Tards go
Garrison
batshit
is evil.
instantly.
Told me
It
once
was
the
as
entire
if
region
World
kept
War
under
Tard
fire.
had hit the
I do
Tard
my best to
HQ.
keep the villagers out of
Miss
trouble.
Springer is now a little better at
Good
handling
news
the
for them.
situation,
I'll
but
do
she
what
is
I
nowhere
can.
near capable of
But do not
handling
forget,
this.
I have my own
This time
justice
she
to
has the
pursue.
common sense to get under
Ah,
the
I
desk
knew I
before
could
the
count on
stapler
you,
and her
sir.
head have a collision that rivals the power of the Haiti earthquakes. I try to calm Neil down, but it is
What happened
futile.
here?
The Tard
Garrison
Wranglers
soldiers
finally
are
arrive
brutal.
before the Tards
They
reach
suspect the
full-on
villagers
hold
like to
mode
them
and
their
are able to
values
restrain
nearer
them.
and worse.
Neil stops his screech, seeing that the situation no longer requires it, as Jody is subdued. The Wranglers pick him up and carry him out of Tard HQ yet again. I wave at Neil as he is carried out the door, peaceful, as he is every time it happens. Thank you.
Welcome home, Bayan.
Chronicles of Neil. The staplers are coming. Being 8th grade still. The 3rd marking period now. Neil and I have just been chilling for quite some time in class. Nothing terrible has happened in a while. I started to think that I would never see the wrath of Neil again. LOL, think again. Neil had recently gotten his first cell phone. His parents bought it for him so they could keep tabs on him better and whatnot. Neil loved the new phone and texted me frequently. As far as I know, I'm the only one he texted. So while we were sitting in class one day, the teacher actually attempted to teach the tards something. Neil sent me a text saying, "Hi." Mrs. Springer saw him send this message, unfortunately. She made the very terrible mistake of taking Neil's shitty cell phone. Neil didn't take this too kindly. In fact, he took it terribly. As soon as she took it out of his hand, he let out a rat-tart screech so fearsome, it made Mrs. Springer drop his phone. At this point, Neil thought she had broke his phone and went into full-on rage mode. I made no attempts to calm him down because she had brought this upon herself. The tards ran rampant. It was as if Neil was Lion Tard and he was leading his army of tards against Miss Springer. All he needed was the blue face paint. The tards commenced their attack on everything within their reach. The very same tard as the previous time was in reach of the stapler, and this time Miss Springer wasn't smart enough to hide under her desk. The tard grabbed the stapler and hurled it with all of his might. When it connected with Miss Springer, it was as if Chernobyl had just happened in her head, and she was down for the count. 1, 2, why even bother, she was fucking out. Now that it appeared as if someone had suffered extreme head trauma, I figured I might as well help a little. Turns out that Neil's phone was fine, the battery just fell out. I put it back in and handed it to him as he returned to his realm of not giving a fuck about the damage he had caused. Turns out Neil was leaving early that day, so he bailed before the tard wranglers even got there to clean up the mess. Neil just walks out the door, looking at his phone, and simultaneously waving to me behind him. Thank you. See you, Neil. Don't fuck with Neil's shit. Flash of the Tards, Part 3. Be in 8th grade. Be in 4th marking period now. Shit has been far from smooth for Neil lately. As I said before, he destroyed some bitch recently and wasn't sparing a single fuck to give about it. Because of this, Tard Wrangler has been paying close attention to Neil, trying to prevent him from getting into any more trouble. LOL, nice try. During the period that I helped the Tards out, there was a major Tard emergency on the other side of the school. It required all Tard Wranglers, so Neil was left alone for the time being. As soon as the Tard Wranglers were out, someone was walking over to us. It was James the Dickhead, no doubt approaching to start shit with Neil. Neil was playing the Pac-Man free trial on his phone, and could not give a shit about anything else going on. James is now standing directly in front of us. James, just please leave. Go read something. I want to see what you're doing. Neil is completely focused on the Pac-Man game. James feels angry that Neil won't let him see what he's playing. James grabs the phone from Neil mid-game. As James looks at the phone, all you hear is the wonk 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 sound of Pac-Man dying. Bad idea, James. Bad idea. Neil emits the rat-tart screech as he stares at James with the fury of 1,000 burning midgets. James is now able to resist the screech to an extent, but it is futile nonetheless. His future was set the second he touched his phone. Neil approaches James with very blatant, cruel intentions. When Neil is within striking range, he begins to cock back his leg as far as possible. The Tard Wrangler is now turning to head at the door. Too late now, though. James's manhood is about to be decimated. Neil unleashes the most powerful kick ever performed by a man. When it collided with James's nuts, it was as if there was a disturbance in the force. James drops, and for a second time now, he was throwing up due to Neil's intentions of making sure his family line ends with him. The Tard Wrangler restrains Neil as fast as possible, although it wasn't needed. Neil has stopped his screech now and is back to his oh-so-blissful state. As he was being yanked out the door, he waves to me. Thank you. Got a text 15 minutes later. Hey, Phil. People need to learn not to fuck with
Find my
shit.
letters and burn down my place.
Neil versus Barb
I'll be
the
executed.
Bitch. Be in 8th grade still. Be in the final few months of school before summer starts.
Watch out.
Kinda sad that I'm not going to see Neil again for a while. Walking to Card HQ with Neil in the interesting period.
there? Keep low.
Neil wasn't paying very much attention as usual.
He is getting
He was
too
just
close.
talking and looking down at his feet as if he was mystified by how they allowed him to walk. I see Barb the Bitch walking down the hallway in the corner of my eyes. Barb got this nickname because, well, she's a huge bitch, even to tards. Since Neil wasn't paying attention, he walks directly into Barb and knocks her onto the ground. He quickly says, "Silly," and motions to help her up. The bitch smacks his hand at him and starts to yell, "Why don't you watch where you're going?" Poor decisions, .jpg. Neil takes this as an imminent threat and unleashes his short burst roar, his only warning that he's about to slap someone's shit. Barb continues to yell, "Why are you making that sound, you little dick?" I begin to grow angry with her. "Barb, what the hell's your problem?" Neil just puts his arm in front of me like he's got this. Neil dives for her legs and she topples over. She struggles, but Neil has engaged Raptard's strength. Resistance is futile. He gets into a full mount position on top of her and positions his head directly over hers. The roaring has stopped. All that can be heard throughout the hall is the sound of phlegm being drawn up in someone's throat. It's Neil. He slowly lets the nastiest loogie I've ever seen drip out of his mouth and directly onto her forehead. It seeped onto her forehead and then down the sides of her head. Barb proceeded to cry and gag so hard that she was choking. Neil sees this as a sign that he has won and releases her from his hard-strength grapple. He says, "Come, Phil," motioning over to Tard HQ. It was as if he had erased the memory from his head entirely, and it was glorious. Neil breaks in the new Wrangler. Be in 8th grade. Be about halfway through the year. As I said before, Neil is the
Thank you,
lightning
Mike.
Raptard.
I told you these naked idiots do not care.
Well, he put this particular
believe
asset
they're
to good
gone.
use against his new
It is
Wrangler.
sad. Come
Well, at
upstairs.
lunch one day, the
I'll
new
show you
Wrangler
all
wasn't
the
paying
magic
much
duties I
attention.
see.
He greatly underestimated the power of Neil. Well, the dumb plug was flirting with one of the substitute teachers, and Neil slipped the fuck out.
All the
Neil
problems
somehow.
are sewer. I
Card
hear.
Wrangler finally notices and asks me what happened to him.
I try to help
I don't
everyone,
know,
but
it's
it
your
is more
job
than
to
I
keep
can
track
do.
of him.
So you're telling me you do
He
not have
runs
the
off
powers
down
of
the
a god?
hallway. I follow out of
But
curiosity.
the real problem is that man you want to kill.
We go out to the main
But you know-
walkway. Neil is nowhere to be found, but his
People
pants
will
are
look
off
for
the
the
trash
best
can.
around.
We hear a scream coming from the building we were just in. Turns out Neil had scared some of the girls
We
walking
see
around.
now.
Neil has now been running around for a good 15 minutes straight at full speed. This would be hard for anyone to maintain. Neil is found by the two of us. The Tard guards grab him by the wrist and pull him towards the bathroom to put his pants back on. Neil mumbles, Neil engages Tard-free grip
is the
on the
man you're
Tard
up
guard's
against.
wrist. It is well-known fact that Tard-free grip is unbreakable.
I will
Neil
find
tries
him
to free
and
his
kill
wrist
him.
to no
You know,
avail.
there's a lot more power.
Neil throws up that day's lunch
He
he
is
had.
surrounded by the finest
Pizza,
soldiers.
fries,
I do
and
not
juice.
care.
All of the
You'll be
Wrangler's
killed.
fancy
You need
shoes.
to get tougher if
He
you want
sighs
to
in
let
disgust
it.
and tosses Neil into the bathroom.
Sure, you need better
Neil
armor.
begins his first screech due to the
I can
excessive
make that
force
myself.
used on him.
Weapons are more difficult.
Thankfully, no
The
turrets were
soldiers
nearby
took
to
everything
move.
in the village.
I help
I will
calm
talk
Neil
to the
down and
blacksmith.
he tells the
Yes,
principal that the
any
Wrangler
pair
hurt
can
him.
certainly make
Wrangler
something.
is ultimately
Or
fired a
Senu
week
can
later for
help you
this,
find
all
what you
because he
need.
was a dumb fuck.
Senu.
Don't flirt with substitutes
Senu's
when you
alive.
should be watching Neil. They aren't even hot.
Look
Neil
who's coming.
versus Card Wrangler Part 2. Be in 8th grade
Senu
still.
was God.
Be almost the end of the year, only a month
Glad you
or
asked
so
Nurse
left.
to help.
I must
School has
thank her.
decided to try college integration
People are
again.
desperate for your help,
Bad
Mike.
idea.
They'll help you with
Neil
your
has now been assigned a much more seasoned
Understand.
Card Wrangler. He has his eyes on Neil at all times. Neil fucking hates him even more than the last. Just so turns out that I got Neil integrated into my woodshop class. Woodshop teacher is old, fat man with a large white beard who does not deal with any shit at all due to the possible dangers of his class. Why there are turds in the woodshop, I will never know. Card Wrangler is only allowed to watch from outside the classroom as to not disturb the class. Be learning how to make a shelf. Required to use jigsaw. Neil goes to his jigsaw and completely disregards all safety precautions. Woodshop teacher sees this and shits a brick. Runs over to Neil shouting, "What the hell do you think you're doing? Did you ignore everything I said? Get out of here." Neil's eyes light up with fury